Have you ever felt invisible in a room full of people? Like no matter how much effort you put in, how much you give, your presence goes unnoticed? It's a tough reality, but one worth confronting. The harder you chase validation, the less respect you command. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." So ask yourself, are you living for their approval or your own purpose? Because the moment you let others define your value, you give away your power. But today that ends. This isn't about playing games or getting even. It's about shifting your mindset, reclaiming your worth, and making people realize, maybe too late, what they lost when they stopped valuing you. You'll learn how to set boundaries without apology, walk away without fear, and command respect without saying a word. If you're tired of being overlooked, stay with me. By the end of this, you won't just know your worth. You'll embody it. And when that happens, the world has no choice but to take notice. Like, subscribe, and let's level up together. Let's begin. Number 1. Stop chasing validation. There is nothing more repelling than a man who begs for validation. The moment you seek approval, you hand over your power. You let someone else define your worth, and a man without power is a man without respect. Since childhood, you've been conditioned to please, be the good boy, avoid conflict, make everyone happy. But that mindset is a trap. It keeps you weak, dependent, and always looking outward for something that should come from within. Picture this. You're in a relationship and your partner starts pulling away. She texts less, acts distant, seems uninterested. Most men panic. They text more, call more, try harder to fix things. And what happens? She withdraws even further. Why? Because desperation is unattractive. Strength commands respect. Neediness destroys it. And this isn't just about relationships. It applies to friendships, careers, and family. The more you chase validation, the less you receive. So how do you break free? You shift your focus. Stop asking, "Do they like me?" and start asking, "Do I respect myself?" If your actions don't align with your values, change them. Not everyone will value you, and that's fine. Your job isn't to be liked, it's to be your strongest, most authentic self. Because when you stop chasing, you start attracting. And when you attract from strength, the game changes. Number 2, recognize the warning signs. The first step to reclaiming your power is awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Yet most men ignore the signs when someone stops valuing them. Why? Because the truth is uncomfortable. It's easier to pretend everything is fine than to face the reality that you are being taken for granted. But the signs are always there. Maybe they're subtle, a shift in tone, a lack of enthusiasm, an unexplained distance. Or maybe they're blatant, canceled plans, unanswered calls, outright disrespect. Either way, the message is clear. Your presence is no longer a priority. Ask yourself, are you the one always initiating, always compromising, always making excuses for their indifference? If so, understand this. People value what they have to earn. If you're the one putting in all the effort, you're teaching them that they don't have to. You're showing them that your time, energy, and presence are easily available. And what comes easy is never truly valued. But recognizing the signs isn't about blaming others. It's about taking responsibility for what you allow. Have you tolerated disrespect? Have you ignored red flags out of fear of confrontation? If so, it's time to wake up. Imagine this. Your partner starts canceling plans at the last minute. The first time, you let it slide. The second time, you make excuses for them. By the third time, resentment creeps in, but you stay silent, afraid of rocking the boat. And that silence, it teaches them that disrespecting your time has no consequences. Recognizing the signs isn't just about seeing the problem. It's about deciding what you'll do next. Will you keep tolerating less than you deserve? Or will you raise your standards and walk away from anything that diminishes your worth? The choice is yours. Number 3, the power of stepping back. This is where everything changes. When someone stops valuing you, the strongest move isn't to chase, argue, or beg, it's to step back. Let me say that again, step back. Why is this so powerful? Because it shifts the balance. The moment you step back, you stop playing their game. You stop feeding their ego. You stop proving your worth. And when you do that, something remarkable happens. They start noticing your absence. Picture this. You're always available, always the first to text, always bending over backward to make them happy. What happens? They get comfortable. They take you for granted. Your presence becomes predictable, and predictable things are easy to ignore. Now imagine stepping back. You stop initiating. You stop seeking validation. Suddenly they're left wondering, why haven't I heard from them? Did I mess up? That's the power of absence. It forces people to recognize what they've lost. But here's the key. Stepping back isn't a manipulation tactic. It's not about making them miss you. It's about reclaiming your energy. It's about saying, I refuse to invest in those who don't value me. I choose to invest in myself. And that shift, it's life-changing. When you focus on yourself, you become stronger, more confident, more grounded. You stop needing approval because you've already validated yourself. And that's when the dynamic changes. That's when they start chasing. But here's the irony. By the time they come back, you might not even want them anymore. Because when you truly invest in yourself, you realize your worth was never tied to them. You were always enough. You just needed to see it for yourself. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't react. Step back, focus on yourself, and watch what happens. They'll notice your absence. But more importantly, you'll notice your own power. Number 4, invest in yourself. When was the last time you truly put yourself first? And no, I don't mean scrolling through your phone or binge-watching TV. I mean real, intentional self-investment, the kind that sharpens your mind, strengthens your body, and builds a life you're proud of. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't respect a man who neglects himself. Investing in yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. If you're not growing, you're fading. But most men pour their energy into everything but themselves. They bend over backward for relationships, sacrifice their time for people who don't appreciate them, and put their dreams on hold to keep others happy. Then they wonder why they feel drained and lost. When you invest in yourself, you send a message to the world. I matter. You tell yourself, I am worth the effort. I am worth the time. I am worth the energy. And that belief, it changes everything. Ask yourself, what would the best version of me look like? Stronger? More disciplined? Financially secure? Now ask, what's stopping me? The answer is usually you. Here's the truth. You can't blame anyone else. Not your partner, not your parents, not your boss. It's on you. And that's a good thing because it means you have the power to change it. Imagine this. Instead of chasing people who don't value you, you channel that energy into your goals. Instead of waiting for validation, you validate yourself. And instead of worrying about opinions, you focus on becoming the man you respect. So here's your challenge. Commit to one act of self-investment today, because the best version of you is waiting, and it's time to meet him. Number 5, set boundaries like a leader. Let's talk about boundaries. Most men hesitate at the thought, fearing it makes them difficult, selfish, or unkind. But here's the truth. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're guardrails that protect what matters most: your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. If you don't set them, you're inviting others to walk all over you. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? Let someone disrespect you just to avoid conflict. Tolerated behavior that made you uncomfortable just to keep the peace. Every time you do this, you send a message. My time doesn't matter. My feelings don't matter. My standards don't matter. And guess what? People believe you. Here's the harsh reality. If you don't respect yourself enough to set boundaries, no one else will. But boundaries aren't about being rude or aggressive. They're about clarity. They're about saying, this is what I need and I won't accept less. Start by knowing your non-negotiables. What behaviors will you never tolerate? Disrespect? Manipulation? Chronic unreliability? Get clear on them. Because if you don't know your boundaries, how can you expect anyone else to? Then enforce them with actions, not just words. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, don't argue, just walk away. If a friend constantly cancels plans, stop making them. Your boundaries are only as strong as your willingness to uphold them. Most men fear setting boundaries because they worry people will leave. And maybe they will. But ask yourself, do I really want people in my life who only stay when they can disrespect me? That's not love. That's convenience. Here's the truth. Boundaries don't push the right people away. They attract them. When you value yourself, the right people will rise to meet your standards. The rest, let them go. They were never meant to stay. Number 6, the absence effect. Your presence is powerful, but your absence is even more so. People don't value what's always available. They value what they fear losing. If you're constantly present, constantly giving, constantly chasing, you teach them one thing. You'll always be there. And what's always there is easy to take for granted. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who always showed up first, to help, to text, to make plans. At first, people appreciated him, but over time, they stopped reciprocating. They ignored his efforts, dismissed his time, and took him for granted. Why? Because his presence became predictable, and predictable things fade into the background. One day he made a shift. He stopped texting first, stopped showing up uninvited, stopped giving his time to those who didn't value it. And something changed. People noticed. They started reaching out, asking where he'd been, wondering why they hadn't heard from him. His absence created a void, and in that void, they realized what they had lost. This is the absence effect in action. When you step back, you force people to feel your absence. And in that space, they either recognize your value or they don't. But either way, you win. But here's the key, you can't fake it. This isn't a game. You don't step back to manipulate someone into chasing you. You step back for yourself to reclaim your time, your energy, your focus, to stop investing in people who won't invest in you. And here's the best part. When you step back, one of two things happens. One, they step up. Two, they disappear. And if they disappear, they were never meant to stay. Number 7, embrace unshakable confidence. Every man wants it, but few truly understand it. Society has fed you a lie. They tell you confidence is about being loud, flashy, and the center of attention. But real confidence, it's quiet, it's calm, it's unshakable. It doesn't need validation because it comes from within. What does unshakable confidence look like? Imagine walking into a room and feeling zero pressure to prove yourself. You're not the loudest guy there. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're just present, calm, composed, completely secure in who you are. That's the kind of confidence that commands respect. So how do you build it? It starts with a mindset shift. Confidence isn't about what you have. It's about what you believe. You don't need six-pack abs, a six-figure income, or an expensive car to be confident. Sure, those things are nice, but they're external, and anything external can be taken away. Real confidence comes from knowing your worth with or without them. Think about the guy who constantly brags about his car, his job, his lifestyle. On the surface, he seems confident, but take those things away, and what's left? Nothing. Now compare that to the man who walks into a room with nothing to prove. He doesn't need to show off because his confidence isn't built on things. It's built on who he is. How do you develop that kind of confidence? By keeping promises to yourself. Confidence isn't given, it's earned. It comes from action, from showing up, doing the work, and proving to yourself that you can. Whether it's hitting the gym, mastering a new skill, or tackling a challenge, every time you follow through, you reinforce one truth: I can handle this. And the more you prove that to yourself, the more unshakable you become. Number 8, stop over-explaining yourself. Over-explaining is a sign of insecurity. It happens when you feel the need to justify your decisions, boundaries, or standards to people who don't deserve an explanation. And let me tell you, it's one of the fastest ways to lose respect. Think about it. Have you ever said no to a plan and immediately felt the urge to give a long-winded excuse? Or set a boundary only to start justifying it the moment someone pushed back? Did they respect you more? Probably not. In fact, they likely respected you less because over-explaining makes you seem unsure of yourself. Here's the truth. A strong man doesn't justify his worth. He states his decision and lets his actions do the talking. If someone doesn't like it, that's their problem, not yours. So how do you break the habit? Practice silence. The next time someone questions your choice, resist the urge to explain. Simply say, "That's what works best for me." If they push back, repeat it. No explanations, no justifications, just certainty. Here's why this matters. Over-explaining drains your energy. Every time you waste time justifying yourself to people who don't respect you, you take energy away from what truly matters: your goals, your growth, your peace of mind. So stop. Save your energy for those who respect you enough to accept your decisions without question. And for everyone else, let your silence speak for itself. Number 9, cut the dead weight. Let me ask you a hard question. Are there people in your life holding you back? Maybe it's a friend who only calls when they need something, a partner who doesn't support your goals, or a colleague who constantly undermines you. You know who they are, and deep down, you know they're dead weight. Cutting people off isn't easy. It feels uncomfortable, even harsh. But keeping toxic people around is far more damaging. Every time you tolerate their behavior, you send a message to them and to yourself that disrespect is acceptable. And that message shapes your reality. Your time and energy are limited. Every minute spent on people who don't value you is a minute stolen from your goals, your growth, your peace. Imagine trying to climb a mountain while carrying a heavy backpack full of useless junk. How far do you think you'll get? Now imagine dropping that weight. Suddenly, the climb becomes easier. Here's how you do it. Identify who drains you, set boundaries, and if they don't respect them, walk away. No explanations, no apologies. Because when you let go of the wrong people, you make room for the right ones, and that's when your life truly begins to change. Number 10, reclaim your focus. How much of your time do you waste on things that don't matter? Maybe it's a woman who doesn't respect you, a friend who takes advantage of your kindness, or a work situation draining your energy. Every moment spent on things outside your control is a moment wasted, and wasted moments add up to a wasted life. Your focus is your most valuable resource, but if you're constantly distracted by drama, opinions, or disrespect, you'll never reach your full potential. Why? Because you're giving away the one thing you can't afford to lose, your attention. Think about it. How many hours have you wasted replaying conversations, scrolling social media, or chasing people who don't value you? Now imagine redirecting that energy toward your own growth, the skills you could build, the success you could achieve, the man you could become. Reclaiming your focus starts with one decision. Stop giving your attention to things that don't deserve it. If it doesn't help you grow, let it go. If it drains your energy, cut it off. Because when you reclaim your focus, you reclaim your power, and that's when your life truly begins to change. Number 11, the art of subtle detachment. It might sound cold, but it's one of the most powerful tools a man can have. It's not about being emotionless, it's about freedom. Freedom from needing validation, from fearing loss, from constantly proving yourself. When you master detachment, you become unstoppable. Most people think detachment means not caring. Wrong. Detachment is about caring the right way, giving your best without being controlled by the outcome. Imagine you're in a relationship, constantly overthinking, trying to keep the other person happy, fearing they'll leave. That's not love, that's fear. Now picture a different approach. You focus on being the best version of yourself. You set boundaries, communicate clearly, and give your all. But your happiness doesn't depend on their actions. If they stay, great. If they leave, you're still okay. That's detachment. That's freedom. This mindset applies everywhere. Relationships, careers, personal goals. Detach from what you can't control. Stop seeking approval. Let go of fear. Because when you master detachment, you gain something far more valuable than control, peace of mind. And in a chaotic world, peace of mind is power. Number 12, dominate your own path. This is it, the final step. The one thing that separates ordinary men from extraordinary ones. It's time to dominate your own path. And no, That doesn't mean arrogance or aggression. It means living with confidence, purpose, and zero apologies. Because here's the truth. If you don't take control of your life, someone else will. Too many men follow a script they never wrote. Going to school because they're told to, getting a job because they're supposed to, settling into a life that doesn't feel like their own. But you weren't born to live by someone else's rules. So how do you take back control? Stop blaming. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, you reclaim your power. And with that power, you can build the life you truly want. Get clear on your vision. What does success look like for you? Not what society expects, what you define. Write it down. Then take action. Because a vision without action is just a dream. And remember, this isn't a solo journey. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who push you forward. Let go of anyone who holds you back. Because dominating your path isn't about reaching a destination. It's about living each day on your own terms. Stop waiting. Take back your power. Set boundaries. Focus on growth. Comment, "I choose me." Like, subscribe. Keep evolving.